DreAllDay.com.
Now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all of this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative. That is the go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques underneath the umbrella of one unifying philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is why they hate Elon Musk. Yes, I'm not saying everybody hates him, but there are people who hate him. I'm going to explain who they are, and I'm going to tell you why that is as we break this down. Before we get into this, I remind you all of two things. First of all, my daily motivation text message, Monday motivation text. When we start sending that out again, you'll be getting it straight to your phone if you're a member of my texting community, which you can become at no charge by simply texting it. My number is down below in the description. Once we start sending that message out again, you'll be getting it straight to your phone. Number down below in the description. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. You would like to have me as your direct coach. You want to get access to all of our trainings and courses, such as our Bulletproof Mindset Framework, such as our 30 Days to Discipline Framework, the Work on Your Game system, and everything else that comes with working directly with me. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. That link is down in the description of this episode. So this is going to be a three-part series here, why they hate Elon Musk. Everybody knows who Elon is. He is famous for his ownership of Tesla and also of SpaceX, and generally respected as a smart innovator and businessman, and I believe maybe the richest person in America, net worth-wise, as of today's recording, or pretty close to it. Now, Elon used to work at PayPal. That's where he first came to be known. He was part of what they called the PayPal Mafia. It was a bunch of really smart guys who went on to do great things in business after working with PayPal, which was a groundbreaking company that allows you to make payments online without going through traditional banks. And Elon is one of the many early employees at the company, as I said, who went on to do these great things. These days, he has made himself even more notorious by standing next to and voicing support, vocal support, for Republican president nominee and then elect Donald Trump, and now President Donald Trump. And because of this, combining the fact that he is a well-known entrepreneur, the fact that he has a lot of money, is noted as a billionaire, and is successful in his business ventures, he was known based off that. But then the fact that he bought X, the social media platform, and took it from being very left-leaning to more in the center, or you would even call it more right-leaning. Some people say it's more right-leaning. I believe it's more in the center now. I don't think it's leaning right. I think it's more in the center, which feels like it's leaning right compared to how left it was before when he bought it from Jack Dorsey. And then he started using his voice and that platform, as X is the town square of the internet, and started using it to support Donald Trump. And I believe it played a significant role in Donald Trump winning the 2024 election. That made people start hating him. See, it's not the fact that he was an entrepreneur making money and all that. The fact that he took control of X, took it from the left to the middle, and then supported Donald Trump with it, that's what made people hate him. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't be talking about him here today. But since it did happen, that's what we're going to talk about here today. I'm going to explain to you the real reasons why people hate him, which are not the reasons that people state. And you're going to understand why this is, how it is, and what it means for you. Because there are other people who are going to fit some of the things I'm going to bring into the conversation here in this series that'll help you understand why things are how they are just in life, period, even if you don't use X or pay much attention to Elon Musk. Point number one. Today's topic, once again, is part one of a three-part series, why they hate Elon Musk. Number one, he is publicly noted for being a financial success. This is one good enough reason for a lot of people to hate you. If you are publicly noted for your financial success, there are people who will dislike you because most people don't have financial success and you are a visible target. So it's one thing to have financial success and nobody knows about it. It's another thing to have financial success and everybody knows about it. You become a target. That's just the way that it works. Every day on social media, I see somebody saying something like, well, hey, these people don't have Social Security, but Elon Musk has $100 billion. Or this company took out $150 million in stock options this year, but their maintenance man only makes $18 an hour, something like that. People are always making this juxtaposition between people and companies who have a whole lot of money and people who don't have a whole lot of money, as if the people who have the money are somehow the cause for the people who not have the money. That is false. That's a false idea. It's a false correlation. This correlation does not equal causation. Just because one person is rich and another person is broke does not mean that the rich person made the broke person broke. That's not how it works. The same way that the broke person doesn't make the rich person rich. But people seem to believe this emotionally, if not logically. I think there are people out there who actually think that this logically makes sense. There are many more people who believe it more on an emotional level, even though they know logically it doesn't make any sense. And if you are publicly noted for having a lot of money, you become a convenient target for this fallacy, this fallacious way of thinking. So the rich person is always the bad guy for the masses of people who are not rich and don't see themselves as ever possibly becoming rich. So they look at the guy with all the money and say he must be bad in some way. So you watch any cartoon, any movie, any after school special, you're going to notice that the bad guy is often some mean rich guy who owns a business and has made a lot of money. Usually it's a man, sometimes it's a woman. And this is not by accident. That the mean rich guy who makes a lot of money is always the bad guy in every movie and every cartoon. This is not by accident. It is by design. That being rich and being publicly noted is a formula for making people hate you and making people dislike you. Again, not because they know how you made your money and they have any fault with how you made your money, but because of the fact that you have it and they don't is a good enough reason for people to hate you. That's just how it works. They need to come up with, they being people, the masses, have to come up with a rationalization that explains the difference between your situation and their situation, because you have something that everybody wants and needs on some level, which is money, financial resources, and success and public notoriety. Not everybody wants public notoriety, but everybody wants and needs money on some level. They have to come up with a rationalization for why you're where you are and they are where they are. And the rationalization is that you must be some type of bad person who's doing bad things, and or you represent bad people and bad things. That's the only reason why you have all that success. And this person who doesn't have it, they represent good things and honest things, and that's the reason why they don't have the success that you have. And that rationalization is enough to allow people to sleep at night. And Elon Musk just happens to be the mascot for this because of his platform and because of his known status. That's a good enough explanation. That's one reason why people hate him. Let's move on. I don't have to explain that one too much more. Point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is why they hate Elon Musk. Number 2, he has control over the public town square, which is known as X, used to be known as Twitter. X is the public town square. If you want to find out what people are talking about and you want to hear the conversation and you want to engage in the conversation, the place for it to happen is X. Before it was Twitter. It was the place then, and it's X now that Elon has taken over it. It is the place that people go to have conversations about what's happening. Whether we are agreeing, whether we are disagreeing, whether you're talking to people you've never heard of before, people who've never heard of you are talking to you, or you're talking to friends who you're connected with, people you met in real life, people you never met in real life. X is the town square for a conversation about current events and what's happening in life, period. And he has control over that platform, and that controls the narrative of the public discourse regarding any current event. Now, the public discourse regarding current events often centers around the government, especially in election cycles and in election years like 2024 was. And there were a lot of people, but depending on who's controlling that platform, you hear or see a lot of conversation leaning in one direction or another, depending on who is controlling the platform. Now, even though Twitter was controlled by a strong leftist and a guy named Jack Dorsey for several years, back in the 2016 election that Trump won anyway, and then the 2020 election, which ended up going to Biden. By 2024, Elon took over. And again, it was more centered. I believe he centered the platform more than he shifted it to the right, or he didn't make it more right leaning. He shifted it to the right because it was already leaning to the left. So he shifted to the right to make it in the center. And people hate him for this because they are under the impression that his movement of the platform is what caused Donald Trump to win in 2024. But that doesn't explain how he won in 2016, because Jack Dorsey controlled it back then. Had Elon not bought Twitter and turned it into X, we wouldn't be having the conversation we're having right now, because he wouldn't be drawing as much attention as he does. But the fact that he owns the platform, he can basically broadcast his own messages and amplify it as much as he wants to. And that has caused people to hate him. And now, I knew who Elon Musk was before he bought X for $44 billion. And even though I knew who he was, I wasn't paying that much attention to him. I don't like electric vehicles. I would not drive a Tesla. So if you are planning on buying me a car as a gift, do not buy me a Tesla. And I'm not that much into outer space exploration, even though I hear that you got to be pretty smart and pretty advanced to figure it out. Those things are not on my radar. I don't care about those things. So I wasn't paying much attention to Elon, even though I knew of his existence. But I have noticed a lot more of and about him since he bought X, because I use X and he is on X. I follow him on X and I see his posts. He owns the platform, so he can basically set the algorithm to where every time he posts something, it gets seen more than anything anybody else posts. And if I owned X, I would do the same thing. I would do the same damn thing. I want my post to get seen more than anything that anybody else posts, even if it's not that popular. Change the algorithm. I go to my engineers, change the algorithm. Anything I post, I want everybody in the world to see it. I owned it. Should I pay $44 billion? You going to think I'm not going to use it? Yes, I'm going to use it. So I'm pretty sure he does that. And I've heard people say that about him, and it's like some type of like accusatory way, like he's doing something wrong. Like he owns the platform. It's a privately owned business, and he amplifies his own messages on that business. Of course he does. Who doesn't do that? If you own a business, your message is going to be amplified more than anybody else's. Why wouldn't it be? So if you want to know what people are thinking about any certain current event, X is the place where that conversation is taking place. And that was the case already before Elon. But now that he owns it, again, he has the ability to shape it in his own image. And Elon is he is an announced conservative, announced MAGA, announced Donald Trump supporter. And a lot of people don't like conservatives, they don't like MAGA, and they don't like Donald Trump. And he's aligned himself with them. Do you think this is enough to make people hate him? Yes, it is. Now, I believe that, as I said, he jiggers the algorithm to make sure his stuff gets seen. And again, I would do the same thing if I owned it. If you owned it, wouldn't you do the same thing? Would you want your stuff not getting seen, even though you paid $44 billion for the platform? I want to make sure my stuff gets seen 10 times more than everybody else's. The only people who are mad about this are people who disagree with Elon's political views. And thus, they hate that he has what is now the biggest megaphone on the platform. My response to that is tough shit. So what? So what if he has a big platform? All right, buy the platform from him and you can do it your way. All right, you pay $45 billion, sell it, let him sell it to you, and then you can do what you want to do with the platform. But he owns it, he does what he wants to do with it. I don't have a problem with that. Even if I disagree with him, I wouldn't have a problem with it. Moving on to point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is why they hate Elon Musk. This is going to be a 3-part series. Number 3, he is obviously friends with and a supporter of Donald Trump, a staunch, hardcore supporter of Donald Trump, made even bigger by the fact that he is who he is. And people don't like this. Half the country has been conditioned to hate and oppose anything that Donald Trump says, does, or represents. So if you stand next to Donald Trump, half the country is going to hate and oppose anything that you say, do, or represent. You see how that connects? This is the 1-2 punch that has caused a lot of people to really hate Elon. The fact that he is well known and noted for his success, and he's aligned himself with Donald Trump. See, if he was well known for success and he was aligned with Kamala Harris or voting for the Democrats, no one would care to hate him. Nobody hates Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban is known to be a billionaire, has a lot of money. Nobody seems to be hating him. Nobody hated, I mean, he had some negativity, but nobody really hated Mark Zuckerberg back when he seemed to be leaning towards the left. But why do people hate Elon Musk? Because he's leaning towards the right and he's open about it. He's open and vocal about it. That's what people don't like. See, if he was quiet about it, there wouldn't be a thing because people wouldn't pay attention to him. But since he's loud about it, that's what people attack. That's the problem. So this is the 1-2 punch. See, it's not just him buying X and pulling it out of the left-leaning side that it was. It's also that he took the opposite direction and is now a MAGA supporting conservative. So that's doubly hating him. Many Americans, again, it's been 10 years, you've been conditioned to hate Donald Trump and oppose anything that he says, does, or represents. And you don't even consider the substance of his actions or the substance of his statements. You just want to find the negative angle to it or find someone who has found a negative angle to anything about Donald Trump because you've been conditioned to look for it and conditioned to co-sign it no matter what it is. Because most people, again, don't think, most people don't read, and most people are lazy, mentally and physically. So anyone who aligns himself with Trump, you know you're aligning yourself with being negatively attacked, hated, and vilified just because you're standing next to him, even if you don't do anything. Just standing there, you're going to get attacked. Donald Trump's son gets attacked. I ain't never heard Donald Trump's son talk. People attack his son just because he's the son, because he's standing next to Donald Trump. People attack his wife. What does his wife say? I've barely heard the woman talk. They attack her. Why? Because she's standing next to the guy that they have been conditioned to hate. This is how it works. If you stand next to Donald Trump, they will hate you just because you're standing there. They don't even have to know who you are. All right, they'll find out who you are, and then they'll start hating you just because you're standing next to the guy that they've been told to hate. And this is how people are. So anyone who aligns himself with him, even if you're not trying to, you get condemned by half of the public. If Donald Trump was to put out a tweet right now and say, I love listening to the Work on Your Game Masterclass with Dre Baldwin. Dre's show is amazing. Anyone who's serious about making themselves better personally and professionally should listen to the show. If he was to put that out, 50% of the people who saw that would have something negative to say to or about me just because Donald Trump said it. Period. That's how it works. Elon has openly welcomed this onslaught by aligning himself with Donald Trump, and this is why he's being hated by so many people. And this is just the start of why people hate him. We haven't even gotten into the deep water of why people hate him, which we're going to get into when we get into parts 2 and 3. First, let's recap part number 1, which is why they hate Elon Musk. Number 1, he is publicly noted for being a financial success. This is enough reason to make a bunch of people hate you, because a bunch of people are bitter and frustrated about their financial situations. So when they see someone who has financial success, they will come to hate you just because you have what they don't have, even if they have no idea how you got it, why you got it, and aren't even interested in figuring out how they could possibly join you, because they don't see that as a possibility for themselves. So they rather just hate you from afar rather than figuring out maybe how they could change their situation, because they don't want to do that. Because I just told you, people are fucking lazy. So they rather just hate you. That's easier. Number 2, he has control over the public town square, which is X. It used to lean to the left. He has shifted it to the right so that it's more centered now. People hate him for that. And the fact that because now more conservative voices can be heard more clearly on that application, and he didn't silence the liberal voices. He just amplified more of the conservative voices, or re-amplified them, because they have been pressed down and suppressed by the previous regime. And people hate that, especially if you already hate Donald Trump. And number 3, he's friends with Donald Trump. He supported Donald Trump. He's MAGA. And people already hate MAGA staunchly, and they hate MAGA with a passion. So if you align yourself with MAGA, openly align yourself with MAGA, of course you know you're going to be hated. Elon Musk is the type of guy who doesn't give a damn about that. He's an entrepreneur who has some balls, so he doesn't care. And that makes people hate him even more. The fact that he's shown no contrition for the fact that people hate him because he's standing next to Donald Trump only makes the hate against him even stronger than it already is. On top of the fact that he's an immigrant who was not born in America, but here he is in America making a bunch of money. And there's a bunch of people who are from America and been here for generations, and they haven't come close to making his money. They're like, how the hell did he do it? I didn't do it. That gives him more reason to hate. Tomorrow, we'll go even deeper into this. Make sure you go to workonyourgameuniversity.com so you can put yourself in a position so you can be the business owner. You can be the person making money. You can be the person with the financial success. You don't have to let everybody know that you have it, but you can have it. You put yourself in a position to do it with the right mindset, strategy, systems, and executions. I'll help you with that all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Work on your game. Dre, all